Eleanor Vance started her morning the same way she had for the 8 months since her husband, Arthur, had passed away, with a cup of coffee by the kitchen window overlooking the garden he had so lovingly tended. But this morning, a cold dread washed over her. The door to their garage, a place Arthur treated like a sanctuary, was wide open. Her heart pounded as she walked across the dew-kissed lawn. Inside, the familiar scent of motor oil and old leather remained, but the space where Arthur's masterpiece, a gleaming 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air, should have been, was hauntingly empty. He had spent 2 decades of his life restoring that car piece by piece. It was supposed to be for their retirement, for the cross-country trips they had dreamed of. Later that day, her son, Michael, arrived with his wife, Serena Hayes. Michael couldn't meet her eyes, a sure sign of his guilt. It was Serena, with her polished smile and cool demeanor, who explained. They had sold the car. "It was an incredible opportunity, Ellie," Serena said smoothly. "We're going to Paris. It's essential for my business connections." Michael added defensively, "Mom, it was just sitting there collecting dust. Dad's gone. We needed the money." The words felt like a physical blow. To them, it was just a car. To Ellie, it was the last tangible piece of her life with Arthur. The following day, a man named Ben Carter called. He introduced himself as the owner of Carter's Classic Rides and a close friend of Arthur's. "Ellie," he said, his voice heavy with emotion, "your son sold me the Bel Air yesterday. He had no idea what he was doing. He asked for $15,000. Ellie was stunned into silence. Ben continued, "That car is a museum-quality piece, worth well over $150,000. But that's not why I'm calling. Arthur made me promise him something. If anything ever happened to that car, I was to call you immediately. There's something inside he wanted you to have." At Ben's immaculate workshop, surrounded by automotive history, the Bel Air stood under a spotlight, looking more beautiful than ever. He showed her a cleverly hidden compartment Arthur had built behind the radio. With trembling hands, Ellie reached inside and pulled out a thick manila folder and a sealed envelope with her name on it. Back home, she opened the letter. Arthur's familiar handwriting filled the page, and it was a revelation that chilled her to the bone. For the last 18 months of his life, he had been secretly investigating Serena. Her real name, he had discovered, was Linda, a professional con artist who preyed on men with aging parents and significant family assets. The folder was filled with irrefutable proof, marriage certificates to 2 other men, Mr. Davidson in Arizona and Mr. Jenkins in Florida, photos of Serena at their weddings, and newspaper articles detailing how both men's families had been financially ruined. Arthur had also left a key to a safe deposit box containing stock certificates, now worth over $300,000, to ensure Ellie would always be financially secure. His final words in the letter were a plea. "Protect our son. He is a victim in this too. He won't believe me without proof." Following a lead from Arthur's notes, Ellie contacted Detective Miller, a private investigator. Miller confirmed Serena's pattern. She would first isolate the son, then create a narrative that the parent was declining and needed to be put in a home, and finally convince the son to sell the family house, disappearing with the proceeds. Ellie knew a direct confrontation would fail. She invited Michael over alone. Calmly, she laid Arthur's investigation on the kitchen table. Michael's first reaction was explosive anger. "Dad never liked her. This is paranoid nonsense," he yelled. Ellie held her ground. "Then prove him wrong," she said softly, handing him the contact information for Mr. Davidson and Mr. Jenkins. "Call them." That night, a broken Michael called her back, sobbing. He had made the calls. The stories the men told, of their mother's lost life savings, of their family businesses sold, were identical to Arthur's warnings. When Michael had confronted Serena with simple questions about her past, her stories unraveled. The moment he mentioned the other men's names, her charming facade vanished, replaced by pure venom. She called him weak and pathetic, packed a bag, and stormed out. Ellie immediately called Detective Miller. They discovered Serena had booked a one-way flight to Mexico City and was withdrawing cash from multiple ATMs. With Michael's heartbroken cooperation, the police were waiting at the airport. They arrested her as she tried to pass through security. Her luggage contained nearly $50,000 in cash and multiple fake passports. Seeing Michael and Ellie watching from a distance, Serena's rage erupted. "You foolish old woman! You ruined everything!" she screamed at Ellie. In the months that followed, the truth came out. Serena, or Linda, was wanted in 3 states and was sentenced to a long prison term. Michael, humbled and devastated, moved back in with Ellie. He began therapy to process the betrayal. One afternoon, Ben Carter drove the Bel Air back up the driveway and handed Ellie the keys. Arthur built this for his family, he said simply, refusing any payment. Slowly, healing began in the one place it could, the garage. With Arthur's old grease-stained journal as their guide, Ellie and Michael started working on the Bel Air together. While tuning the engine and polishing the chrome, they shared stories of Arthur and began to rebuild their own bond. The car was no longer just a classic vehicle. It was a symbol of a father's undying love, a legacy that had saved his family from beyond the grave.